south, or wherever to a field.
Yes, sir.
Where was the field located?
Outside of Ridge Hill, which is another small town, smaller than Nevada, a little bit north of Nevada.
Okay. And in that field, was there any type of a vehicle?
Yes, it was a bumper hitch camper, just a little pull behind trailer camper thing.
Anybody else go with you?
No.
Okay. And who drove?
It
And whose pickup truck was it?
was his,
His pickup?
yeah, his owner's pickup.
When you left, I assume you left from your house in Nevada?
Yes, sir.
And how far would it be to this field where this camper trailer was?
Probably, it was out in the middle of nowhere, so it took about 30, 35 maybe minutes or so. Ran around in there to get there.
Did Billy tell you why you were going there?
No,
Were you concerned about why you were going there?
not at first, but once we started leaving town, yes.
And when you got to the field, were you concerned?
Very much so.
Why?
It was just field as far as you can see. It's Missouri, so there's a lot of open area. There was nothing around.
No other houses? No other vehicles? Did Billy indicate to you that he owned that property or owned that trailer?
Yes.
Did he say it was his?
Yeah, he said it was his.
And what was the weather like that day?
Downpour, lightning storm. It was bad. Tornado watches, all kinds of stuff.
Was there power in this trailer?
I don't know. No, sir, there wasn't.
And describe it to me, the trailer.
It was just a little, it was probably like a 10-foot pull behind old camper trailer that's just been sitting there. There's a little like picnic table thing as soon as you walked in. You could sit down at, and I believe there's a bed further back, but I never made it past the table.
Had you ever been there before?
No.
And when you got there, did you stay in the truck or did you go in the pickup or in the, I'm sorry, in the camper?
We went in the camper.
And did Billy tell you to go in the camper?
Yeah.
Did he order you to go in the camper?
Yes, sir.
Did he tell you why you were there?
No.
At some point, were you at that table that was in the place?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did Billy have any weapons?
Yes, sir.
What kind of weapon?
As soon as we sat down, he put his gun on the table, which was the 2-shot gun, the Derringer or whatever it is.
Were you afraid?
Oh, very much so. I was out in the middle of nowhere with this guy, and he just puts a gun on the table between us. So,
Were you afraid he was going to kill you?
yes.
Had you done anything up to that point that you had aggravated Billy or antagonized him?
Not at all.
And you talked back to him?
No, sir.
What was his demeanor, his attitude?
Just let me approach.
Yeah. As a result of you and Billy being in the camper trailer, did there come a time when you were told to go outside?
Yes, sir.
Who told you that?
Billy,
What was the weather like outside?
torrential downpour.
When you went outside, how long did you remain outside?
I didn't have any way to tell time, but a long time.
Were you scared?
Yes.
At some point in time, were you told to come back into the trailer?
Yes.
And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Were you wet?
Soaked.
Did you see the gun again?
Yeah, it was still there.
How long did you stay in the trailer before you were told to get out again?
Only about a minute or two. He asked me, and I guess I didn't answer the question the way he wanted it to, so he told me to go back outside.
Did Billy do that often, ask you questions and didn't like your answer and would punish you?
Yes, sir.
Did he threaten you at any time that day that if you didn't answer the question a certain way, something would happen to you?
No, he said we'd leave with the truth, is all he ever told me. And I was telling the truth, but that was not what he wanted to hear.
How long did you stay there?
Hours, probably.
How many times did you go in and out of the trailer?
About five.
And when you would go outside, would Billy stay in the trailer?
Oh, yes, sir.
Could you have run away?
There would have been nowhere to run to, sir.
And ultimately, you went back in the trailer and you and Billy left?
Yes, I went back in and told him what he wanted to hear, and he left.
And did that happen other times when you had to tell him what he wanted to hear?
Oh, yes, sir.
And when you told him what he wanted to hear, then he said, "Let's go home"?
Yeah.
And you got back in the pickup truck and went home, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell your dad about this?
No.
Did your dad find out about it?
I believe so.
Did he discuss it with you? Did Dad talk to you about this?
Yes, sir.
Was your dad upset about it?
Very much so.
Did you tell him that you felt threatened?
I didn't want to make things harder. No, sir.
As a result of living in this household, there came a time when you told your dad you didn't want to live there anymore. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
That would have been sometime toward the end of 2009?
Yes, sir.
Did you guys go to Florida together?
Yes, sir.
What was the purpose of going to Florida?
To try to find me a job and a roommate to stay down there.
And that would be a way of getting out of the household?
Yes.
And was Dad going to join you at some point in time?
Yes.
So you would no longer live in the house with Billy Barger?
Yes.
Did you tell your dad that the reason you wanted to get out was because of the circumstances in the house?
Yes, sir.
What was going on in the house on a regular basis that you didn't like?
Just ordered around, never felt safe. I never had to lock my bedroom door before I went to sleep. Things like that. Just waking up, not knowing if I did something wrong or not. And I didn't have to do anything wrong to get yelled at. It was very stressful, sir.
And how did it affect you with regard to school?
I didn't go.
And did your grades drop?
Yes, sir. Very much so.
As a result of the trip to Florida, you came back, correct?
Yes.
Things didn't work out?
No, sir.
And did you tell your dad that you didn't want to live there anymore?
Yes, sir.
And what happened?
I moved in with my mom.
And that was in Nevada also, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you continued to have some sort of a relationship with your dad?
Yes, sir. Our houses were blocks apart, so it was within walking distance, so I wanted to go see him.
Did Billy Barger, to your knowledge, continue to live in the house?
Yes.
And did Kim Hunter continue to live there?
Yes.
When you lived in the house, when Billy Barger was there, did Billy Barger ever discharge his firearm in your presence?
Yes, sir.
And on how many occasions did he discharge the firearm?
Twice.
Wasn't at you though, am I correct?
No, sir. No, sir. Not at all.
The fact that Billy had a firearm and discharged it, did you feel threatened as a result of it?
I've grown up around guns, so at that point, no. But as long as it's not pointed at me, sir.
When Billy would order you to do things, what kind of things would he make you do?
Anything. If you wanted his car washed and waxed, run up to the grocery store and get him something, anything.
How about dishes? Did you do the dishes?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Did he order you to do the
Oh,
dishes?
yes, sir. Yes.
Did Kim Hunter's daughters do dishes?
No.
As a result of moving out and living with your mom, did things get better for you?
Yes, sir.
Were you concerned about your dad continuing to live there?
Very much so.
Were you ever concerned about the welfare of your grandfather?
No. I knew he was getting older, that sort of thing, but nothing.
You ever hear Billy Barger threaten your grandfather at any time?
No, sir.
As a result of this experience, am I correct that after you went to live with your mom, you sought some professional help?
Tried to, yes.
And you're placed on medications?
Yes, sir.
And how do you sleep now?
I don't.
Why not?
Nightmares,
About what?
standing out in that field, just all the stuff that went on.
Is Billy Barger part of your nightmares?
Yes, sir.
How often do you have these nightmares?
At least 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
And I see that upsets you.
Yes, sir.
You love your dad?
Very much.
Was it bad living in the household with your dad and Billy Barger during that 2009 era?
Yes.
Was it bad for Derek?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Just see my dad's house taken over. I've never seen anyone treat my dad that way. Just walk all over him. I just never seen that before.
You know today why all that happened?
Yes.
Did you know it at the time?
No.
I have nothing further.
Sure, can you need a few minutes? Do you want a few minutes?
No, I'm
You sure?
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to be very long with you, okay? And I appreciate you coming down to talk to us. You mentioned early on that the detectives over here tried to talk to you a couple times, right?
Yes, sir.
First time, I think, was in Missouri, right?
Yes, sir.
And the last time was just this morning.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't really have anything to say to them, right? You know,
No, sir.
right.
I
I wouldn't want to talk to you, so. I only have a handful of questions for you. I want to ask you a little bit about when did you start living with Dad?
My dad?
Yeah.
Ever since my mom and him got divorced.
When you were young then?
Yeah, I believe it was 99 when they got divorced. I'm not quite sure.
No, you're young, you're right. And you've been living with your mom for a while now, right?
Yes.
How's that going? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You talked about what happened out in the field with Billy.
Yes.
Did you tell your dad about that?
No.
Okay. At some point, did you tell him?
Yes.
When was that? Do you remember? Was that after he was arrested and all this happened, or before? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I know it was later on that I told him.
Was it after you got out of the house and
Yes.
you were living with mom? Okay. Did you always have the option of living with mom? You know, was that, and you just kind of preferred dad, or?
It was a. I don't know, sir.
Not sure. Okay. You never told your dad that you felt threatened? I think is what he testified to. So,
Yes.
correct.
I knew he felt threatened, so I knew I felt threatened. There was no reason.
Yeah. I don't have anything else. Thanks for coming.
Hold on one
I
second.
have one question, Judge. I asked him last night, if you live in the state of Missouri, right? How do you pronounce it?
It's Missouri.
Okay. And if you pronounce it Missouri,
You're not from there.
All right, yes, you can step down, watch your step. Thank you.
you come back there and we'll see you again, okay?
Thanks for coming.
Okay, and I believe we have to have a relatively lengthy discussion of a legal issue. Let me ask, are there any other witnesses that we anticipate producing?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, any other witnesses on behalf of the state?
No, sir.
Okay. We have, I think, concluded testimony with the exception of a legal issue that might or might not necessitate some relatively brief testimonial efforts, but that has to be resolved. So I'm going to excuse you for lunch, and if you could be back ready to resume by, say, 1:15 or so. It may take us longer than I'm saying to resolve what I'm talking about, but I hope not. So I'm going to excuse you and try to resume 1:15-ish or